Let me see your socks. You know what? Those socks go with that.
They do.
You want to talk about that?
I do. Thank you so much. I'm really glad I get to talk about Ronald McDonald House. Real philanthropy is what really happens, and I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about this, and I'm super excited that you brought this up. I was hoping we would go there. The reason is my life is beautiful. Like I said, it's perfect, but I've had my challenges, and one of my challenges occurred, and I'm telling you the story. I fell in love. I'm 57. I fell in love at 50. I was 10 years divorced. I was never going to get married again, but I fell in love with a woman who didn't have any kids, and I knew what that meant, and I really fought this. I didn't know that I could have more kids, and so I fell in love, and I decided I could. My wife, Dawn, many of you know her. She's a beautiful person. She just uplifts. She makes everybody smile when she enters a room, and she's this happy, radiant, pregnant woman with twins that we've already named Charlie and Gracie. And she's big. She looks like she's gonna like break, but she's healthy. And we had this amazing baby moon, and we went to Palm Springs, and this amazing time. And she's so beautiful. And we come back, and then something happened. There was this illness, pain she felt, and we called the doctor, and the doctor said, "You got to come on in." And he said, "There's a good chance you come on in, you're not going home." And suddenly this happy, safe pregnancy went to, "Oh no, I'm Googling what happens when babies come out 7 weeks premature." And everything I read was just, I couldn't even share it with my wife. And so we go to the hospital, and the doctor tells us that Dawn has preeclampsia and that babies must come out or she won't survive. And so we go into a room, and there's 4 doctors, one for Charlie, one for Gracie, one for Dawn, my wife, and one for me. And I found out because that was a very difficult place to watch, and I didn't do so well in that moment. But the hardest part was not watching the blood. It was a cesarean birth, but it was watching my babies come out. When Charlie came out, he came out first, and he looked like a little old man, because he was, about 4 pounds, and I hadn't had that experience before with a baby. And then Gracie came out right after her, and there was more emergency with her. They were putting tubes in places, and there was no cry, and I was used to hearing the cry. And so suddenly, all these things started adding up, and I was in this trauma mode. And suddenly, this happy pregnancy went to us going into that NICU in Mission Hospital, where the CHOC nurses are telling us that when that buzzer goes off, we need to do this, but just relax, they're going to be okay so long as you attend to this. But these buzzers are going off on 50 incubators all around the thing, and our lives are hectic. Every day, we were told by the CHOC nurses, this is powerful, the CHOC nurses said, "Listen, come into the hospital every day twice. Come in for 2 hours each time, take off your shirt, lay your naked babies on your naked chest. And the reason why you need to do this at 2 different times a day is this is the only way we found that we can really count on them healing." And so you know that my wife and I took a month off work. We went back and forth every day to the hospital twice, a half-an-hour ride from Irvine to Mission Viejo. And when we got in there, we took off our shirts and we did this skin on skin. And every day when I would go in there, I would go by this Ronald McDonald House station. And I saw them because it's right there, and they got beds, they've got computers, they've got snacks and coffee, and this really nice attendant would say, "Come here, come join us. You can. We're going to let you rest here, and we want to keep you close to your kids." And I didn't hear their message because I didn't want to be acknowledged by them, and I didn't want to acknowledge them because somehow, looking back now, that would mean that I was in that club of families with sick kids, and I just was in denial. And so that's the way it stood. And about 2 weeks into this journey, I'm going in one day and I'm running late. I had a work event I had to go to. I'm racing down there by myself. And on the way down, I have chronic heartburn. And looking back, I recently discovered in telling this story in an interview last week, the reason I had so much chronic heartburn right then was because I was so worried about my kids. But I go into this NICU that day, and I'm on my way in, and on this day, for some reason, there was no attendant at the Ronald McDonald House station. And I'm going in, and I'm wondering how I'm going to do this session with my son, and I look down on the way in, and I see a little green Nature Valley granola bar in the Ronald McDonald House station, and there's nobody there. And that gave me the courage to steal it. I didn't want to owe them anything. And I grabbed that Nature Valley granola bar, and I ate it very quickly. I went down, put all the greens on, and I opened up my chest, and I was able to let Charlie sit on my chest for 2 hours that day. And and I don't remember having the philosophical thoughts I have today, but I do remember how happy I was when the heartburn went away. And I knew that I could be there for my son because I believed those chalk nurses that if I kept close to the kids, that they were going to heal. Susan used to be with the Ronald McDonald House, and so a few years ago, she heard me speak somewhere, and she followed up, and we spoke, and we just hit it off, and then I started to really catch up. She started to tell me what the house is about. She gave me a tour. In our conversations, that's why I'm on the board, because Susan Kenny came and got me involved in Ronald McDonald House. And thank you, Susan, for letting me see what the nonprofit does, and now it's such a big part of my life. I want to talk about what Susan Kenny also did before we get back to local Ronald McDonald House. Susan Kenny is such a all-in what she does person. She goes to the Ronald McDonald National Conference in Chicago 3 years ago, and she meets Rob Parker, who is the international spokesperson for McDonald's and the house for a period. And he's got a big personality, and she meets him, and she comes back, and she's so excited, and she's telling me about it. Well, meanwhile, I'd been searching with the National Roofing Contractors Association for a plan where we could all work together and do something. And I already suggested Habitat, and they said there's too many. I'd already suggested Movember, and they said, what's that? And so I finally, Susan Kenny comes in, and she's telling me about her enthusiasm about meeting Rob Parker, and her and myself and Corey Verne, Amantis marketing manager, were in the room, and Susan Kenny and I started talking, and how many houses are there? 165. And I wonder if that's possible. We started getting really excited, and we wrote a prospectus. We sent it to the National Roofing Contractors Association, and 6 months later, I'm in a meeting, a national meeting, and I watched these 80 roofers, mostly men, big, strong men, some of them wearing cowboy hats. Well, at least that's how it felt. And I watched them watch the film and try not to wipe their eyes and let anyone see them, and then I watched them, all 80 men raise their hands and unanimously vote. Ronald McDonald House Charities is the first ever nonprofit partner of the 130-year Trade Association, National Roofing Contractors Association. So thanks to you, we had a big, powerful
No, that's a great place to stop. And
before you stop, I have to say, Capital Campaign, Katie Rucker, please stand up. This is my Capital Campaign chair, Katie Rucker. We are now doubling the size of the house. That's what I wanted to say, but I got that other story. And we have raised 8.2 of the $12 million. We still need 3.8 more. And we're going to be able to house 45 families instead of 22 and keep them close in Orange County. So that's our plug for our local house.
I love it. Big round of applause for Charlie.